Hundreds of primary school principals are urging the government to pause the rollout of the new curriculum, arguing it's happening too fast and without enough support. A delegation of principals delivered a letter to Parliament today, signed by more than 650 of their counterparts. But the government argues the rapid pace of education reforms is worth it because the improved results of students speak for themselves. Here's political correspondent Zane Small.
The Transport Minister taking a ride on Wilford Primary School's brand new bike track.
Oh, this is awesome.
The government has announced up to $3.5 million in new funding so the Bikes in Schools program can continue.
And it's awesome to be here to formally open your new bike track.
The Bikes in Schools program has helped more than 400 schools build their own tracks. It also provides bikes and helmets for students.
Helps kids build confidence, gets them out and about, learning those basic bike skills, adds to their health, adds to their productivity. It's a great program.
But it's the government's program of school curriculum reform that hasn't been so warmly welcomed by some school principals, who gathered outside Parliament this morning urging the coalition to slow down.
The pace of change is far too quick, and we want to be able to, we're not against change in the curriculum, we're against the pace of change.
Members of the Primary Teachers Union handed a letter to opposition MPs with the signatures of more than 650 principals asking for a pause.
There's a long parade of schools that some of them are really early in their implementation of, for example, the English curriculum, and some of them are still just starting. And when you multiply that by every curriculum area, we'll have a sector that is at totally different stages of the curriculum implementation for the next 4 to 5 years.
We make no apologies for moving quickly. Our education system has sadly been underperforming our kids for too long.
And data released earlier this week suggests the education system is now performing better. The Education Review Office said half of teachers reported their students had improved at English and maths following the curriculum changes, which the Education Minister attributed to the hard work of teachers.
It has been a big shift. It is a brand new curriculum. It is tens of thousands of teachers doing professional learning and development, uptaking new resources, teaching in a different way, implementing assessments they haven't done before. That is a massive ask in 18 months, and they did it.
The Education Minister's office argues some of the sector's concerns have been addressed. For example, the implementation of other areas of the new curriculum, such as social sciences and arts, was supposed to be next year, but instead it'll be phased in from 2027.
United will never be defeated.
But teachers plan to express their frustrations with the government next week in what's being described as a mega strike.
We want to settle that strike and make sure that kids can get to school and teachers are in the school classroom teaching. Ultimately, that's what parents want, and I think that's what all of New Zealand wants.
The risk is that unhappy teachers could see the government's education reforms veer off track.
OK, Zane, one of the unions representing primary school principals has accepted the government's pay offer.
Yeah, that's right, Laura. The Primary Principals Collective Bargaining Union represents about 500 primary school principals in New Zealand, and I've spoken to the head of that union who told me that about 95% of the union's membership has voted to accept the offer put forward by the Public Service Commission. The agreement provides a 4.7% pay rise within 12 months. Now, the other union that represents primary school principals is NZEI, and it's the same union that presented the letter at Parliament this morning. And the NZEI union has already voted in favour of participating in that so-called mega strike next week on the 23rd of October. So there will be some primary school principals that will be participating in that strike, and it's set to include around 100,000 workers all up.